Hi, welcome to Psychic Tea with Tiffany. I just want to talk a little bit about spiritual awakening and depression, and just a little bit of the difference between if you're going through clinical depression or you're going through an actual spiritual awakening. I know that some people are, telling people, oh, don't take that medication. You're just going through a spiritual awakening. You never want to do that. Please do not do that, because that person may not be going through a spiritual awakening. That person might actually be in distress, and they actually do need that medication to get them through whatever they're going through, or it might unfortunately be long term for them. So I just want to remind people that, sometimes we want to focus on, oh, okay, well, let's do this for your spirit, and that's wonderful. But don't forget that you have to be aware of what your mind needs, and you have to be aware of what your body needs. Mind, body, and spirit. And before you tell anybody to do anything, you need to make sure that you're getting to the root of what is going on. What is happening? Okay? Because I'm always gonna try to do what's holistic first. I 100%. But I'm also realistic that sometimes somebody needs medication. And please don't discourage people from getting the help that they need, because if you do, then guess what? You're partially responsible if that person harms themselves or someone else, because you gave them advice without understanding the root cause. Not everybody that is going through depression is having a spiritual awakening. Not everybody that sees things is having a spiritual awakening. You have to know and understand the difference and what's what and when's when. It's very, very important to understand that. I can't stress enough. Okay, so I just want to jump into this. So if you are, and I apologize, my little brain's going so if you are going through a spiritual awakening, sometimes it's not uncommon to have a little bit of depression. But you're also going to see signs along with that. There's going to be other things going on along with that. That's why it's important that if you do have a spiritual community or other family members that you can talk to while you're going through this, it's important to have other people that you can trust, especially if you're not sure really what's going on. Sometimes we might have an imbalance in our body. We might be missing something. Our body is literally out of whack and just needs something. That can cause depression. Females, we have all kinds of hormones. If our hormones are off, that can cause depression. If there is a chemical imbalance in our brain, or there is outside circumstances like a death, why would you not expect this person to actually be depressed, and instead of telling them they're going through a spiritual awakening? You have to know the root cause before you give help. And I'm not trying to be judgmental. It's just important to understand the difference. And I'm not saying that, medication is for everybody. Like I said, if it's something in the body, then fix what's in the body. But it's okay to get help, and for that person to get help if you are going through depression and you need medication. But you also have to be aware when you're on that medication, because sometimes you're not put on the right medication, and it can lower your frequency and open you up. And when your frequency is lower, you are opened up for attacks. And it's the same with people who are doing alcohol or drugs, because I've also heard people say they had spiritual awakenings while they were on alcohol. You might have had some spiritual things happen to you, I have no doubt, but it wasn't from source. You have to be very careful. And when you know that you're not vibrating, and you know that you're going through depression, please don't try to do spiritual work yourself. Be very careful and mindful of doing that. Unless you're trying to do healing just be very careful about what you're doing, and don't be afraid to ask for help. All right, I know I said like I threw a lot out there, but I really do hope that it does help somebody. Just remember, like, sometimes even if all of a sudden like you start feeling depressed, ask yourself, does this belong to me or somebody else? 9 times out of 10, as soon as you say that, if it doesn't belong to you, if that's somebody else's energy, which is not uncommon for somebody who is going through a spiritual awakening, that might be your spiritual gift that you feel other people's energy, and that's not uncommon. And once you do that, you'll usually know who that belongs to. It'll usually be revealed to you what's going on, who that belongs to. It's also important at that time to learn to ground, to learn to center, be present in where you're at. It's also important to be grounded, because you don't always want to be spiritually open. You don't always want to be in a spiritual state of mind. You don't. And a lot of people get confused with that too. I mean, it's just a lot of things out there. I've been around for a minute. I started having psychic gifts as a child. I see my first spirit at 7 years old. And even though like my family, a lot of people in my family are gifted. My mother, because she didn't understand it, and she said there were always things around me. And that goes with learning to tell what's good and what's bad. And sometimes things are in between. But because she didn't understand it, she really wanted me to close down. And for a long time, like, I tried to shut things out and try to be, quote, normal. And my grandma would tell me all the time, well, what's normal? So I'm 51 years old, and I've been around for a second. And I'm just saying that there's so much stuff going on and so much stuff being thrown at people, and a lot of it is misinformation. Okay, well, I hope this gets to the right person. Love and light.